sorry, and on both the asset management plan as well as the financial plan, they wanted auditors to write a written opinion. Okay, so there's still some aspect of that floating through this piece of legislation as well. Public consultation process, transparency, which is fine, and then limitations, updates, refinements, which you can do from, you know, one bylaw to the next or one license to the next. So that is what's coming up. So as over the last 10 years, we've continued. We've reported the same thing. It's just been refined, embellished, enhanced. So we'll be seeing that soon enough. We'll start with, now we're going to get into the calculations and stuff. I know we've got 5 minutes. I'll try and move through it. I told you I'm a guy of few words, right? Really quick, this is your present rate structure. You vary the charge. You have a base charge. This is represented on a monthly basis. I think 80% of Ontario municipalities basically have a monthly base charge. They have kind of like a fixed amount, whether you're down in Florida for a period of time, you're still making a contribution because when you come back, turn on the water, it should be perfect. So most municipalities have these types of charges. As well, it's helpful when you have a seasonal population, that if they're not here all the time making contributions towards the flows, you should make sure that you get them a contribution. So, and then there's your volume rates, $2.25 per cubic meter, and for water, and $1.65 for wastewater. You know, we haven't varied your charges. The rate structure you have right now is basically the same. It's what we call a constant rate, which basically is the total cost that you need divided by the total volume, and you get a cost per cubic meter. There's different charges. Some are increasing blocks, so as you consume more, you pay more per cubic meter. That's to encourage conservation. And then there's a decreasing block, which is normally to help out large water users, right? Because the more they consume, the less they pay, and it's kind of like an economic development measure. So yours is the 60% of Ontario use the constant rate, 20% use the increasing block, 20% use the decreasing block. And then there's 15% of those that, those that don't have meters, which is about 15% of Ontario, they still are on flat rates.
Do you have mixed rates too? Here, for example, you just mentioned about the decreasing, so we just talked about DCs and greenhouses. Yep. So, for example, they're going to pay through the water rates, or pay through those, right? But the volume thing on that, I've read many times about women for bats and the green giant and all that, and how they've suggested for what, 15 years in London that residential people have been subsidizing their large water rate users because of that. They suggest, they didn't say they do. But can this be part of your, that you would, over a period of time, as we saw large water users increase, or if it was a business that was increasing because we put the right tools in place, would be that the type of thing that we would put in place as part of this?
If you wanted.
Or something, is that something we could do?
Yeah. It's, from my perspective, it's a fairly straightforward calculation as long as I got the data through the meter. And then if I can get that data, it's just a weighting type of calculation.
Meters don't lie, so.
Never. So what we provided is continuance on the same policy.
The constant can have variations, right? Yep. That's what you're saying.
We go to, this is just your customer profile. Obviously, a lot more water customers, almost like a 3-to-1 ratio versus the wastewater. We've provided for, some provision for growth over time. You'll note this is a little bit lower than what we had in the growth forecast, in part because not all users are going to be on the, most of the water, I guess, most of the people will be on water, but not on the wastewater side. And to be conservative and to reflect some perspectives, we took it down a little bit for this purpose, because we're still have, I know we still have more discussions to go. So, to be sensitive,
He's catching it.
I'm listening.
The head injuries are improving.
She's the
You're
pearly
good.
whites.
You don't need the helmet anymore, you're good.
I don't. On the other side, I'm a financial guy, and if you're gonna be conservative,
Yeah,
fine. This one is where if we overshoot, then it means a deficit.
that's right.
On the DCs, it doesn't have that same implication per se. So, so once again, I've taken a lot of commentary into consideration. So just to show you, we've got, obviously, because you've got a twofold rate structure, as we increase the number of customers, there's more money that comes through that monthly charge. And what we've done here is this is actually, it's a half a year, for the year that we proceed, we're gonna get the new growth. We've only carried half a year's, we've assumed that you'll get a half a year's worth of revenue for every new customer that's built. Like if I build this year, some are gonna build in June, some are gonna build in March, so we assume a half a year's revenue for all those new customers. So you've got, there's your base, for your base charge, and there's your volume flows. Okay? You got a little bit lower volume, the 165, in Ontario, traditionally we've seen between 250 to 300 cubic meters per year as the average, okay? You're lower because you've got some seasonal in there, right? So that influences your...
And a lot of sand points out there still.
A lot of
Sand points out there still.
sand.
A lot of people kept their wells, they just separated it off.
Yeah. As long as they don't connect it, they're okay.
Well, no, we all understand that, but we were told that when rural water, for example, it's in the middle of people, they water their plants with, because we've got wells.
Yep. So we've looked at, we've tracked your average usage, and that's what we've used.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear what the average use per residence is. You're using the general numbers there?
Yeah, 165 is the average use per customer.
165 per customer per year.
And in the water the water meter bills, a little bit lower in the wastewater area, marginally. So we've reflected actual activity. We look at capital infrastructure, number of projects that have been identified, about $6 million worth of projects, different areas. You got your meter changeouts, so you've got water meters, that's your, well, two things. Water meters give you your ability to charge your revenue, and over time they have a tendency to slow down, so that needs to be corrected. On the other side, they're also the only way that your engineers, your water department, can tell what's going on under the ground. What they do is they put a meter at either end of the pipe at night, and then they can read the meters, and try and figure out what the actual water loss is. The only way you can tell. So getting accurate meter readings is certainly important. And then these are the other projects that, water mains that are being replaced, and then we've got a number of different miscellaneous items. So we've got about $6 million in capital. On the wastewater side, we've got, this further review here, the large portion, which is the treatment facilities for the Grand Bend, and then we've got the wastewater collection system. A lot of this is recoverable. I'll show you the financing in a minute. So there's about $38 million worth of projects there. You see that we're doing main replacements as we're up doing road projects. There's replacements going on, and then even there's a number of replacements that are go on through the various systems here. Blowers and part of the treatment facilities have to be updated from time to time. No magic, not a lot of you're limited in your revenues. You either get put money away in reserves. We impose charges onto properties, so through the Municipal Act, capital charges or development charges for new. And if we don't have that, then it goes from debt and that debt's ultimately paid